Hello and welcome to Spectrum of Color panel. Thank you so much all for being here today. We have an amazing panel of guests with us today. We will be discussing the intersection of being Black and having autism. My name is Akuya Daniela. I run Town of Tawiah. I'm a social commentator on YouTube and on Instagram. And you can find my in my username here. I'll hand it over to you, Nathan.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spectrum of Color. It's our first episode. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Nathan. I am a content creator on Instagram who talks about being autistic, being bisexual, sober, all the good things. And I'll hand it off to you. Kia.
I'll have these lovely guests introduce themselves in just a moment. But today you should stick around because we'll be discussing and exploring what it's like to actually live with autism as a Black person. And we'll be touching on career, we'll be touching on our educational experiences, families, socializing, friends. And I really can't wait to really delve in and chat with you guys. So I would love if you guys could introduce yourselves. I know everyone always finds it so awkward to come up with an introduction, but you guys are great at this. So Ash, sorry, it's probably the story of your life, but Ash, to go first.
Well, hello. My name is Ash. I run an Instagram account at Shark Tizzy. I write about being Black and being autistic, as well as living with dissociative identity disorder. And I'm really happy to be here today.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Khadija, she, they, them. I am a human rights activist and I run my own cross-cultural consultancy. I've been doing that for 23 years. I'm new to the neurodivergent world because my diagnosis is new, but not new to all things fighting the power be in other areas and arenas. And I think for me, why I'm excited for this because I'm isolated in Australia as a Black autistic and neurodivergent person. So I think that is what I am looking for, is that sense of connection, but the globalness of our shared struggle. But I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Carolyn. I run an Instagram page called Disrupt Your Feed, and I'm a fourth-year medical student. So I kind of started that page when I started my healing journey, and I just wanted to share the things that I'm learning in school and also to help everybody get along on their healing journey. And yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Hi, my name is Chris, and I also go by my username, Tank0601. You can also find me on Instagram. I was most known for being in a video with special books by special kids. Check them out as well. And mostly I just try to get through life and survive, and hopefully to inspire others to not to be afraid of life.
Very relatable, to be honest. And that will be Fatima next.
Hi, my name is Fatima. You can find me on Instagram at Mimo3000. I mostly use my platform to talk about art, talk about the intersection of art and having autism and how just the creative world is kind of not as open to that, but how we can make it open to autism and neurodivergency and things of that sort. Because as a fashion major, it's something that I feel like is not talked about enough. So yeah, I mostly use my platform to encourage others to take their creativity to the next level, despite whatever outcomes may come from people not being open to them being neurodivergent.
Hi, my name is Yours, pronouns they, them, and I go under the handle Mangoranges, so you can also call me Mangoranges. I am an autism and ADHD mental health advocate and content creator, filmmaker, and I'm currently zooming in from Austria.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Sunshine.
Howdy. My name is Sunshine, and I am a content creator that talks about motherhood and travel through the lens of sustainability. And now my journey to discovering that I'm autistic and maybe raising super cool autistic kids too.
I've seen a lot of discussion online about Black women, Black people with autism, and it's about the beauty and sort of and fashion industry. And a lot of people overlook that they have autism when a lot of Black women's interest is like hair and beauty and fashion. They almost think, oh, this is just a Black thing, right? So it's like, oh, they're good at like laying their hair and they know what closure to wear, and it's a 3-4-6, you know. And it's, I thought that was such an interesting point because I never really considered that. And it was, they, I think they refer to it as like the like the glamorous or the pretty Black girl, you know, thing where they overlook, you know, but that's subjective about how that, you know, the terminology. But what do you think about that? Have you found that through your experiences?
I think that is exactly why my parents were so supportive when I switched into fashion design. Because they knew that, like, I guess somewhere in the back of their minds, and they've said something along these lines as well. Like they were kind of like, "Oh, well, it's something that you enjoy, and it's something that you're really good at." And I'm like, "I'm really good at it because I cannot take my mind off of it."
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it actually. Yeah.
And I think it also goes back to what I was saying earlier about like socially acceptable stimming, socially acceptable special interests, and things of that sort. So like even like Carol's interest in like medicine, like that's socially acceptable to like to neurotypical people. My interest in fashion design is socially acceptable to neurotypical people. Maybe not to the Muslim community because I think I'm gonna be broke, but don't care about that. They don't matter. And I think it's just I really love that we can have these spaces where our creativity knows no bounds, where we can just share ideas with each other and create things and do the things that we love. And at the same time, there's so many people that try to take advantage of that. I cannot tell you how many times, and I haven't been a fashion major for very long. I switched from pre-law to fashion design. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people who I thought were my friends try to take advantage of my special interest and try to take advantage of the thing that I love so dearly for their own benefit, with trying to get me to do things for free, trying to get me to just do things that are related to something that they know that I probably will not refuse because I enjoy doing it just for their benefit. And I think that's where I'm like, I get a little worried sometimes, especially just seeing that, like, as far as I know, I'm the only Black student and the only Muslim student who's studying fashion design, like in my entire university, and my university is huge. I get worried about people being taken advantage of for their special interests, especially when it comes to creative things, because it's like, I love doing this thing. I'm going to do it. You want me to do this thing? I'm going to do it. But also I have to know my worth. And so I think it also kind of goes back to the educational sense where it's like, how can we make it better for people who are creatives, who are neurodivergent, who are in school for this thing? I think it comes down to like having humility, having maybe a council, and having funding. We need funding so that we can actually afford to have model forms that are not 30 years old. We need funding to be able to pay the council that's going to be in charge of individualizing people's education. And we need humility because we have to understand that we're not always right. People have to understand that they're not always right. Whatever they think is not always going to be correct. Whatever they think is also not always going to be the only acceptable truth. And so that's kind of my 2 cents about people being able to be creative and experience their neurodivergency in different areas. But having that support is so important.
Thank you so much. And as you were saying that, something came to mind, like of special interests being taken sort of advantage of. It's not just our special interests, we're specialists in these things, you know. And I think when we take away the interest, it's like it's just a hobby. No, we're a specialist, so you should charge, you should like, you know, take that seriously and don't allow people to take advantage of that at all. Like I definitely get what you mean. Like people know it's what I love to do, so they'll get the freebie because it's like, oh, she's doing it anyway. And it's like, no, you wouldn't go to a specialist and be like, oh, they do it anyway, so I'll just make them. You wouldn't do that, you know. So I do hope that like a lot of us can really see the value in the fact that we are really like almost professionals in these things. It's quite impressive that we have been able to accumulate all of our understandings of the topics that we love so much. But we are coming to a close. Thank you so much for being here today, guys. I know it's towards the end of the day. I don't know about you guys. Is it towards the end of the day where you guys are as well? Oh, early morning? What
1 p.m.
1 p.m. What about
That's 1
you?
p.m. The sun is out. It's 80 degrees.
It's like 7, it's 11 past 7 in England right now. But thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that we've had this conversation. It's so valuable. I'm really looking forward to sharing this and allowing people to be able to hear our experiences. I'm just gonna do a little bit of closing, but I want you guys to give you guys some time. If you have any final words before we leave.
I had a question. I don't know if there's 3 seconds for a question, but
No, that's fine, yeah.
it was off of your question about like beauty and like that being a special interest. And I wanted to know if anybody else had the experience of shying away from beauty, like making themselves less beautiful because it would make them more safe in like outside spaces because you're autistic and you get taken advantage of. So the less presentable you look, the safer you are. Because that's been my experience as like an autistic person. And I just wanted to know if I was alone in that. And so anyway.
I feel like for me, I wouldn't say I shied away from beauty. I feel like I never respected it. Well, not respected it, but it's just more so like I was more growing up, I cared about comfort more than beauty. So like I'm somebody like I never really thought like, oh, okay, maybe I couldn't style my clothes a certain way. I'm just like, no, I like this shirt. I'm gonna buy this shirt in every single color and I'm gonna wear this and that's gonna be my outfit every day, you know? So I never really saw the, I guess, the advantage or, you know, of actually styling and dressing up and makeup and stuff like that. But I never also realized that was something I was missing as a female, if that makes sense.
It does. As you were nodding, like you could really relate to that.
Yeah. Like
Yeah. So me personally, I think my experience with this is compounded both by DID having multiple identities and also being trans. So my experience has a lot of more layers in terms of that. But whenever I was in school, I was bullied really, really badly, really badly. So I think one of the ways that I sort of tried to shield myself from that was by making myself less presentable, was by wearing the like ugly clothes or like doing not looking as best as the other people because the popular girls growing up, everybody had the attention on them. And they would take advantage of me because I wasn't at their level in many different ways. So by sort of making myself less presentable, making myself more, I hate this term, but ugly, I was sort of able to be on my own and away from all of that. People didn't have their attention on me. So yes, I can very much relate to that in many ways.
I had never attributed that to my autism, but looking back, that is the story of my life. Like all of my sisters were so glamorous and I would just actively like do whatever I could to not be seen. And it's only in the past few years where I've started to do content and I recognize like what people click on more. So I'm like, oh, let me learn how to do these makeup looks. But really, I think if it was just me and like what I would naturally draw to would just be to avoid like any kind of attention on me. So thank you for mentioning that, Sunshine, because I don't think I would have made that connection to my autism at all. And it looks like a lot of us can relate to that.
I guess like I've had like, I feel like I've had the same experience as y'all, but I took a very different route because I enjoy makeup so much. I'm not like a soft glam type of girl. I'm like, I will draw a very detailed starfish on my entire face type of makeup girl.
I love it.
But at the same time, I don't like being perceived. But you can't not be perceived if you're like downtown in Chicago with a starfish on your face. So it's kind of been like for me, it's like grappling with like, I don't want these people to look at me, don't talk to me, don't look at me, don't breathe my air. My face is bright yellow right now. Yeah, it's I relate so much to how you all felt, and I relate so much to why you did the things that you did or why you do the things that you do in terms of like beauty and presentation. I just sometimes I wonder why I chose to go the route that I went, but that's also like what I try to do in my fashion and like in my designing. I'm like, I will have everybody else model, but I don't want y'all to look at me. I'm not even here. Mm-mm. Yeah. And then I guess like a closing word of advice is don't gaslight yourself. You're valid. Whatever you're feeling, if you have an inkling, if your brain makes note of something, keep that in mind because you are valid for whatever your brain made note of. Yeah.